Everybody's favorite bumpkin here. Welcome to a new episode of Rambling Park. Yeah, I know this isn't the way we normally start these things, but we have to take a small field trip to the People's Republic. I need a specific type of wrench for doing some of the disassembly on the Rambling Park Shovelhead project, Project Moonlight, if you will. Because, yeah, damn little of it's getting done when the sun comes up, okay? Actually, probably the majority of everything that we're going to be doing on this bike is going to be in the wee hours of the morning, because that's the only time I've got time to do it. We are heading to the People's Republic. That way we can pick up a couple of things. Oh, somebody did a baddie. And it looks like we got some clouds trying to roll in here, so hopefully I will keep my chubby self dry. That would be amazing. Come on now. Come on. There you go. Nope, not today. Beat him again. Man, I gotta tell you, Thursday night's live stream, wow, y'all. Man, y'all took me down a trip down memory lane so deep on that one, man. I mean, I had no idea that we were on there for 4.5 freaking hours, especially after the little technical hiccups that we had trying to get it up and running and off the ground. But I tell you what, that was exactly what I needed, because I needed a bit of a brain space correction, if you will. I've been feeling kind of puny. Well, not really puny. I'm just kind of feeling kind of bleh, you know. And man, you guys helped me unearth so many memories from the past, from my childhood, from my formative years. Okay, thank y'all. I appreciate the hell out of that. Had a little bit more bounce in my step the next morning as I stumbled and shambled my way to the coffee pot first thing out of the gate. You are supposed to yield, asshole. Jesus, man. That's gonna be my luck, alright? One of these days I'm gonna get taken out of my day off. But also, we're on the ass end of early morning rush hour traffic here too, because we got to get to the People's Republic in a reasonable time frame. That way we can get back to the temple and get some shit done. Oh, the mighty Trop, currently a skeletal husk of its former glory. They did you dirty, brother. Now the thing is, I got to get the Shovelhead totally broken down, because I got most of it apart right now, but my customer is needing to pick up the frame, the swing arm, all the tin work, all that stuff. That way he can start doing his part of it and getting some sick ass looking paint squirted out on this thing and get it polished up and pretty. That way we've got the sexy part of it handled and out of the way, to where when we go back together, we got a bike that's done and dusted. So I got to do a couple of things real quick, just to where I can finish getting all the disassembly done. That way I can hand all that stuff off to him here in a few days. But after that, even though I'm not going to have a whole lot of bike, not going to have much of a bike, if you all know the truth about it, I'm going to have the big chunks, sure. You know, we're going to have the motor, transmission, a ginormous box of nuts and bolts that are in various states of rust and grease and funk entombment. So we got to start cleaning all that stuff, getting it all prettified. Then we got some updates we got to do on the front end of it, things like that. So it's not like I'm going to be sitting around twiddling my thumbs for a couple of weeks waiting on him to get all the paint work done on this thing. I still got stuff I can do, and I got a couple of ideas rolling around in my head that I've not talked to anybody about, but y'all know me, alright? I kind of got to put my own little spin on things. So let's have some fun with it, shall we? Actually, you know what? It's going to be quicker if I go up to 54th. Yes, it will. You know, it's funny. Living here for, well, yeah, almost a decade now. I'm finally figuring shit out on how to get around this town a little quicker. Option A, option B. We're going to take option B. Yep, there we go. Oh, come on. Don't worry about spilling your Starbucks. Come on, let's go. You are totally killing my vibe here, brother. Ah, yay old House of Waffles. It's a sign. That's a sign my chubby ass needs to ignore right now because I got shit I gotta do. Come on, people. Come on. Move along. And of course we're stuck by the Highland. And of course we get caught by another damn traffic light. Being as how we're trapped at this traffic light right now, friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. Actually, let me borrow your brain space for just a couple of seconds here to talk about something that means a whole lot to me and the rest of the crew at the Ride Factory. If you guys remember a couple of videos ago, I mentioned that we got nominated for Best of Tampa, and the voting is still open for that, okay? So if you guys wouldn't mind, show us a little love, you know, give us a little shout out there. Check down here in the description of this video, and there's going to be a link down there to where you can do your voting for Best of Tampa. Now, you're going to need to look for us in the, I believe it's the automotive repair categories. I'm not entirely sure on that, and if I need to amend this, I will. However, that's where you're going to see us down there, big letters, the Ride Factory, best motorcycle shop in town. You know it, you love us. Hey, we absolutely refuse to succumb to the common dealership stigma that everybody around us has embraced here these days. We don't give a damn if it's 10 years old. We don't give a damn if it's 20 years old. Hell, I've got bikes in the shop that are 40 plus years old right now, and some of them that are coming up on the half a century mark, if not older. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter who made it. If it exists in the world, we can find parts for it and we can fix that stuff, man. Especially with me being the old weird bike guy down there at the Ride Factory, I tend to, you know, kick over a lot of rocks throughout the course of my normal day. We would appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you guys here whenever they do the voting here in, I think it's about 6 weeks or so, something like that. So hit us up, throw us some love. We would damn sure appreciate it, okay? Oh, hey, it went green. Thank the dear Lord, baby Jesus, that it went green. And Broham, I don't know how to tell you this. Your Subaru sounds like it's seen better days, man. That thing is making sounds that are, well, let's just put it this way. The sounds that Subaru are making right now, they are not a joyful noise, and they are not exactly anything that one could consider holy. Now, for those of you that may not know, Florida is in a constant state of road construction, rebuild, pothole filling, revamping, rewidening, whatever in the hell the case may be. It's not only where you know, people retire to, this is where they retire orange cones to, okay? This is basically where all the orange highway barrels go to die. Ooh. Looks like somebody rage quit on Scarb. I mean, it's only 85 at 9 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. Oh, and bless your heart, look at you. You're being all kind of helpy helperson right there. I don't think Jeep Bro's taking the hint there. Oh, there he goes. My spidey senses tell me there's an AARP card in the mail with my name on it by now. Damn, I thought taking the highway and cutting across would actually save me some time instead of taking the back roads and cutting through the middle of the town. What the hell was I thinking? Whilst we are here at the People's Republic, I have a broken tool that I have to get them to warranty for me. I had a thought in my head before I was interrupted by a phone call, and that thought has poof, gone. Couldn't tell you where it is, couldn't tell you what it was, have no idea where it landed. It's gone, it's lost in the ether. Ah yes, the People's Republic, the savior of the blue-collar working man and cheapskates alike. Well, let's face it, okay? A lot of you blue-collar boys out there are indebted until your grandchildren's grandchildren leave this mortal coil with Snap-on, Matco, things like that. Don't fall into the trap, guys. Yeah, I know my trunk's a mess. I gotta clean it out. Where is my busted socket? Oh, there it is. Whew. I was fixed to say, don't tell me I left that at home, man. Huh. Well, that blows. Let's go back here and check the scratch and ding shelf and see if maybe we can get what we were after. Howdy. Oh boy, the scratch and dent shelf has been turned into the garden center. Wow. I'm gone a week and they turned the whole store upside down. What's I gotta do? Hey, hon, question. Where's the scratch and dent section nowadays?
We have open box, the purple.
Yeah.
Within the section.
Okay.
Sockets within sockets.
Oh, I got you. All right, thanks. Well, you heard it right there, kids. They're putting it back out on the floor. They're just putting a purple tag on there. So be observant about what you're grabbing while you're here. That is a new development and not one that I was expecting. And truthfully, it's not one that I agree with either. Oh, yeah, that's what I need. I need cutoff wheels. See, this is why it pays to procrastinate and tire kick whenever you come into a home improvement or a tool store, okay? You always remember stuff that you forgot about, that you didn't bother to write down because you forgot to write yourself a list, because you told yourself, oh, I'll remember that, and then you don't. Hey, hon, how you doing? Making it. Yes, ma'am? I need to sit on these for a sec because I got a busted one I got a warranty out.
Okay. What size? Which one?
The 3/16 or 16/3, depending on your personal dyslexia level.
Right. 72, 73.
You know, if you say it faster, it doesn't sting as bad.
727. You're all set.
Thank you, hon. Eat a fish for peace. Well, sounds good, unless you're the fish. Oh, Egg Haven's back open. That's cool. They had it closed down for a little while, and I really don't know why, but Egg Haven's a little mom and pop's breakfast joint. Found them about a year ago. Used to be an old IHOP restaurant there, like a old school IHOP restaurant, but it's good stuff, man. If you guys are in the St. Pete area or down here in the Wang on vacation and you find yourself in my neck of the woods, give them a look, give them a try, okay? Because I promise you, their Eggs Benedict are to die for. Come on, left lane loafer. You're killing me, Smalls. Thanks, Lefty. We could be rolling through here right now, but no. Oh, there we go. Well, since we're right here, and since my fat kid DNA is kicking in, we are going to pay a visit to the Wa of Was, because they got breakfast burritos and coffee, and also I need to pick up something else to support one of my advisors. Oh my God, there's another one right there. Twinsies. I wonder if they get together and compare notes on flexibility exercises and stretching techniques. Keep it clean, y'all. If y'all know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe they can pick up some pointers from the old guard. Okay, fat kid fuel up, achievement unlocked. Now, let's get our asses back to the house. That way we can actually do some shit in the shop. All right. Legitimate. Hi, how you doing moment here right now? Welcome back to Ramblin' Park, the garage edition, if you will. And before we get too awful far in this, you guys really dug in deep into the memory bank the other night when we were doing the live stream, and I had to dig the old school 80s kid t-shirt out of the closet. I couldn't help myself. What can I say? So let's get back on this Shovelhead that we're doing. Actually, let's get back to undoing this Shovelhead that we're currently undoing, okay? Yeah. Some things missing here. Full disclosure, guys, I got most of this thing broke down. I still got it. The motor's just sitting in the frame right now. All I got to do is just grab a hold of it, bear hug it, and heave-ho the damn thing out of there. I kind of forgot to bring a motor stand home from the shop with me, so that's something I got to do tomorrow. But other than that, all I got to do is I got to get the front end off of the frame, and then I got to throw a bunch of parts in some cardboard boxes and some bigger parts in the bit of Petty Officer Squidboy's truck. And then I got to meet up with my customer on this thing, because he is going to take this from this point moving forward, because he is a very adept paint and body guy in his own right, because, you know, his hobby is restoring old C3 Corvettes. So he's going to lay down some kick-ass looking color on this thing. I'm going to do all the nut and bolt work whenever, you know, he's got that stuff squirting paint on there. And whenever we get it all pretty and polished, we're going to throw it all back together and we're going to have a motorcycle out of the deal. Now, a couple things that I did notice on this thing when I was in the process of tearing it down, and I've already talked to my customer about it, and he's like, hey, man, you do you, dude. A couple things we got to address. We got to get into the motor on this. We thought we were going to be able to dodge the bullet because allegedly this motor had been rebuilt not too long before this bike came into my customer's possession. Well, it has been, and you can tell it's low time, but I got a couple of things I want to show you here. Alrighty then. So, yeah. Shovelhead. Everybody loves them. They're leaky, they're clanky, they smell, they drip. But we're going to take care of all that. Now, I was originally planning on pulling these rocker boxes off of the heads whenever I got the motor out of the frame, just so I could do a little bit of cleanup and a little bit of polish on them, because they've been polished before, but they're starting to oxidize a little bit. I wanted to make them nice and pretty. That way, whenever they go back on there, everything's one and done. That's whenever I noticed some odd stuff. If you look real close, you can tell somebody has done some port and polish work on these cylinder heads. They didn't come from Harley like that, I'm telling you that right now. But where they screwed up, they got greedy. Let me get you guys a above shot to where you can see what I'm talking about. See this little area right here where this register lip is? Well, that's broke. And that's bad. The reason why that's bad is because that's where your intake manifold O-ring has to seal. And that ain't no good. Since we got a gap here, obviously there's nothing that it can seal against. But we're not going to worry about that terribly bad, because the intake seals that I prefer to use on Shovelheads, they're a conversion intake seal. What they do is they have a plastic spacer ring that lays in this lip here that would normally occupy the space that is occupied by the O-ring. And then they have a very thick urethane sealing band that's similar to the original late model Shovelhead rubber band intake seals. And they got a big monster stainless steel band clamp that goes around there that puts tension all the way around the head. Way better, way more solid, way more consistent. So cool, right? Well, we got a few more problems than that. And it may be a little bit hard for y'all to see here in the video, but oh, hey, light makes it so much better. Now, if you guys look right there at that junction where the head sits on the top of the cylinder, see a little bit of something that's kind of hanging out in the breeze there? Yeah, that right there. Oh, piece of it came off on my finger, and it fell off my finger. But it's still hanging out down here on the cases. That ain't spray paint, y'all. That's gasket paper. Somebody used the old style paper-backed fire ring head gaskets when they assembled this motor, and you know, back in the day they were all right, but we've invented stuff like then. We have progressed in our technology standpoint. We've invented miraculous things like fire in the wheel. So the heads are coming off of you, baby. Now, if you guys will remember, I told you guys I wasn't going to spend a whole lot of time showing y'all the breakdown on this bike, because let's face it, okay? We're still talking something that's farm tractor technology here. That's kind of the appeal of the old Shovelhead stuff. It's so simple that if it was any simpler, it wouldn't run. You guys have heard me say that many a time in the past about an iron head. Guess what? Same shit applies on a Shovelhead. And if y'all thought I was kidding about the only thing holding the motor in the frame was, you know, the grace of God and gravity, yeah. While we have the motor out of the frame, we're going to go ahead and whip the heads off of it. Obviously, that way we can lay down some new head gaskets, but we're going to check the gasket surfaces on the cylinder deck and on the cylinder head to make sure that they're flat, they don't have any warpage or anything like that. The big thing that I'm concerned with at this point, I want to make sure they don't have any flame cutting on them. Hot combustion gases under pressure can and will erode aluminum whenever they are uncontained by a head gasket failure. So we got to make sure that we don't have any ripply spots, if you will, because everything's got to be nice and flat for the new gaskets to seal up. We're probably going to put MLS gaskets back in this thing because they work, they're simple, they're reliable, and by the way, they just fucking work. So yeah, we're going to stick with shit that works. Now I'm going to put this out here, right now, okay? You guys know me. You know I'm a cheap ass, all right? One thing that I don't cheap out with, that's gasket and seal stuff. Now, there's a lot of stuff out there that gets the job done perfectly fine. However, if you're talking the difference between a paper-based head gasket that may or may not have a fire ring and may or may not be Teflon impregnated, such as the case of what's commonplace on Shovelhead stuff, versus another 15, 20 bucks for a pair of MLS multi-layer steel shim head gaskets, aka Cometic or Genuine James. I'm sure there's a couple of other companies out there that offer them for Shovelhead as well, but those are the two big names in the industry. Or like a solid copper sheet head gasket. A solid copper head gasket, in my opinion, is not the ideal pick for a street-driven bike because it seals extremely well, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't have enough fudge factor. Those are meant primarily for high compression race motors and also in certain instances forced induction, be it, you know, a Shovelhead with a turbocharger or whatever the case may be, or a late model twin cam Evo, a Honda Davidson, you know, if it'll hold together and not go explodey, because a lot of them have been doing it here lately, and Harley needs to walk that back a little bit and fix their shit. Yeah. So for all practical purposes, we're more or less done with the breakdown on this bike. There's a couple of little spots here and there that I've got to address and pretty up before I hand all the big chunks over to my customer. That way we can send the frame and the swing arm and some other stuff out to powder coat, and he can get to work on the pretty stuff. There's a couple of things that need to be abbreviated before I can hand this off to him. Now, this is not a factory FL swing arm. This is an aftermarket swing arm. It's an aftermarket frame. But the essence of it, if you will, this is a 71 FL. That's our story. We're sticking to it. But this is actually an FX design swing arm because it has the lower shock mount here, but it's got foot peg mounts here up on the top. And when Palgo made this swing arm, they didn't waste no time trying to make it pretty. They cut off a piece of 1-inch square stock, poked a hole in it, cut some threads, and then they jigged that bastard up and run some welds in there. These have got to go away because they are homely. We don't need them because we don't ever plan on having a passenger seat on this thing. And if we do, we got better options that look a hell of a lot better than this. Now, originally I was thinking of a way where I could jig this swing arm up in my bandsaw and just let my bandsaw do its thing and carve off the majority of that stuff. And then I could go back with the die grinder and do a little bit of cleanup on it, whatever, just knock it down, make it smooth. And then right before I left this morning to make our little run to the People's Republic, I checked my email, and there was an email with a coupon. So I bought a new toy. Now, full truth here, okay? You guys know that occasionally I kind of tend to adopt the safety third mentality whenever it comes to personal protection. Hey, that's not me being intentionally dumb. That's not me being intentionally reckless or having I'm 10 feet tall and bulletproof. It's just one of those things where, you know what? Hey, look here. Fat kid, sweaty, Florida. It's hot, okay? Now, by all rights, I should probably be wearing a full face mask whenever I'm doing this, but I am going to be wearing gloves and eye pro because I want to show you something real quick. These cut wheels that you use on a grinder like that, yeah, they're 4.5 inches around, but they're damn thin. And the thing is, they don't like to be side-loaded. Don't ever use a cutting wheel for grinding, okay? Because when you flex this to the side, boom, it blows up in glorious fashion. And it's a very unforgiving son of a bitch, too, because if you get a chunk of this buried up in your hide, if you're lucky, you may get a little bit of a boo-boo from it. You may have a badass story to tell. But it's going to itch like a son of a bitch because of the fiberglass they use as a bonding agent in these things. Or worse, if you ain't wearing eye pro and you have a wheel blow up on you, you may not be seeing much of anything from that point moving forward. Wear your safety gear. Cover your peepers, guys. It's the only ones you get. Hey, well, you know, I found my grinding mask. Because I'm fabulous, bitches. Well, that came off there at a high rate of speed. Yeah, maybe my kid's helmet, but you know what? Still works. That new grinder ain't bad. Now, am I going to throw all my quarter grinders out? No, probably not. But the thing is, it's handy having the ability to not drag a quarter around wherever I go. And also, if it's something for just like a, little quick hurry-up job, you know what? Just grab and truck on. Now, I know you guys remember a while back I was preaching to you about the Hyper Tough stuff I was getting from Walmart, their 12-volt line. I'm still totally invested in that stuff. The reason that I brought my Bauer stuff home from the shop is because I am replacing all of my Bauer stuff that I have at work that I use every day with the Hypertech stuff. Now, is the Bauer stuff bad? No, it's not. But the thing is, for how I use my cordless tools and how I use them in a motorcycle shop environment, the 12-volt stuff actually works better for me because it's gentle enough to where I can use it as a glorified power screwdriver. And in fact, that's what I do 95% of the time. But also, it's got just enough oomph to get the job done. Now, if you got something that's exceptionally tight or if it's rusted, something like that, I go straight to the toolbox, and that's when the old school Ingersoll Rand air tools come out. That's the way it's always been. That's the way it's going to be. Because if I got to persuade something a little bit more, I ain't going to screw around with it. It's going to see things my way. But I will still say that I am absolutely loving the Hyper Tough stuff, okay? Dollar per dollar, this is the best bang for the buck out there right now. Another reason that I brought my Bauer stuff home is because, well, I'm ashamed to admit this, but I had to retire Dad's skill saw, and I had to buy a new one, considering all the stuff that we're having to do in the kitchen with the rebuild in there. And, you know, the old Black & Decker, it served pop for many, many a year. At least 30 that I can recall right here off the top of my head. But that thing was just flat used up. So I figured, why not? Since we're in it, might as well go ahead and dive in the deep end of the pool. And I kind of upgraded my skill saw game a little bit, and I bought one of the Bauer 20-volt skill saws as well. So far, I am loving that thing. The only downside on those are power hungry, so you got to realize you're going to have to up your battery game because they say that you got to have a minimum of a 3-amp battery to run them. And, you know, that may be fine if you're cutting through stuff like 1/4-inch plywood or, you know, the occasional 2x4. But with all the demo work that we're having to do in the house and all the framing and all the rebuild work that we're having to do in there, it's going to need more ass to it than that. I don't know if I can say this or not, but hypothetically, if one was to go onto the internet's flea market and search for Bauer 5-amp battery combo kit and word it pretty close to that, you'll probably find a pair of them for $65 delivered to your door that are brand new in the box, just like I did, as opposed to $130 in the store plus taxes in your local area. But that's a hypothetical, and I would never, ever encourage anybody to do that. Ever. So, if you're thinking to yourself right now, man, that looks like a shit show, and how in the hell is anybody ever going to be able to put this thing back together? Well, you would largely be right, but the thing is, I am deeply entrenched in the mindset of organized chaos. And, you know, hey, guys, if I pulled it apart, I can put the shit back together. Besides, this ain't rocket surgery. It's a Shovelhead, baby. So if you want to get a double dose of all the weird shit that goes on behind the scenes whenever we're doing a build like this, or even some of the tiny little tidbits here and there that may not make it into a normal video on YouTube here just because of time constraints, check out down here in the description. That little link that says Patreon, click on that, sign up and join. Cost you $0, nothing. But there's a lot of little tips and tricks that I pop up on the Patreon site very, very often. A lot more often than what I get to put out here on YouTube's. And, you know, it's kind of a microcosm of how all the scrambled jelly rolls around in my head. Sometimes it may not be entirely motorcycle centric, but you know what? Every now and then, you just got to back off and have a good laugh at something, or else you're going to go insane and you're going to end up having to walk around being that grumpy guy. And I don't like being that grumpy guy. So if you like what we do here, please, I would encourage you, go over there, check out the Patreon, because that is where you find the link to the Joe the Mountain Jedi Discord. That's where we're building our knowledge base, okay? We're adding new members on a daily basis, and we got a lot of smart eggs over there in that basket, okay? A lot of good people, a lot of good knowledge. That's where we go to get a problem solved, because we can all come together as a community, put our collective heads together in some kind of a weird, odd, internet-driven brain meld type of stew, and we can come up with a solution to a problem. Somebody needs help, somebody's going to be there to help you out. Like I said, $0, guys. I don't want y'all to think this is me trying to euchre money out of you, because it's not, all right? The biggest reason why I have people go through the Patreon site is because that way we can keep all the bots out, we can keep all the spammers out. Let's keep it about what it is. It's about bike. Now hang in there, gang, because I'm going to lay a harsh truth on you right here, right now, okay? The biggest reason why we started the Discord is to help support people that support the sport. And that may sound a little convoluted, but allow me to explain, okay? If you own a motorcycle that's 15 to 20 years old or older, your dealership network, they have largely abandoned you. All of the dealers and a vast majority of the independent shops in our area here in the Tampa Bay area and the greater St. Pete area, if it's more than 10 years old, they will not take it into work on. And I'm not talking about, motor rebuilds or performance work or anything like that. I'm talking anything. I have had guys come into me at the Ride Factory, and they have a 2014 model Ultra Classic, and they told me that Harley would not put a tire on that motorcycle because it was too old. That is absolute horseshit. That is a cop-out. That is nothing but somebody throwing out a lame-ass excuse because you know what? They're too pretty and they're too precious to invest their time in a bike where they may actually have to get their hands dirty because somebody actually rides their shit. There are exceptions to this, but I am firmly of the opinion that for the most part, on an overall whole, anymore, when you go to a dealer, you're going to be hard-pressed to find an actual mechanic. Probably what you're going to run into is a part swapper that uses a shotgun for a diagnostic tool and a glorified chrome specialist. Not much more than that. So the reason that we started the Discord is to help people be more self-sufficient and more self-reliant. Because if you're like me, you work for a living. You got to watch your budget. And a lot of people, well, times are tight right now, guys. I know it is for us here, especially with what we're having to take on at the house and what my insurance is not covering from the storm last year. And we kind of had to take that one on the chin. That kind of puts a whole different spin on things as far as the Discord goes for me. Because the thing is, if I can help somebody, if I can give them some guidance and give them some knowledge to where they can find a resolution to their problem on their own, fix their problem, and get back up and running where, they may spend $50, $100 out of pocket, but it's fixed. It's resolved. Their bike's not sitting there in a corner catching dust somewhere in their garage or under their carport or whatever because nobody will touch it. Knowledge unshared is knowledge lost. And that's what we're big about here at JTMJ, okay? You got to pass it on because, hey, see this gray hair? There's a lot of guys out there in the shops nowadays. They got a lot more gray than I do up top. And the thing is, those guys, they're aging out. They're moving on in life, and they're getting on in years. The thing is, if I can share that, if I can put that out there to help somebody along, and they can put that out and pass it along to help somebody along, that's how we support one another. That's how we keep the community together. That's how we keep the community self-sufficient, okay? That's what brotherhood is about. It's helping your fellow rider. You lifers out there, you get it. If you're new to the sport, I hope you understand. And please don't take this as an attack. That's not what it's meant to be. Everybody starts somewhere. Everybody's always learning. Hell, I am too. Now this thing, this is old hat, man. This is definitely not my first rodeo. But you know what? I got a lot of shit I got left to do on this bike, and we still have to destroy before we can rebuild. So I'm going to wrap this video up. And I'm going to get back to throwing shit in boxes and taking stuff apart. And then I got to make some space here in the shop because while we're in the middle of waiting on parts for paint to come back on this thing, I've still got a lot of other stuff I've got to do as far as brakes, suspension, electrical, blah, 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 things like that. And now we are going to decapitate the motor, if you will. That'll give us a little bit of a chance to take a peek on the inside and see if what is actually on the inside matches up with what we've observed on the outside. We may be in for a surprise here because there's really no good reason to port and polish a set of heads on a stock 74-inch Shovelhead. So it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? Anyway, guys, just remember, till I get to see you next time, I love you. I appreciate the hell out of you. And I'll catch you on the flip side.
Force will be with you, always.